Good morning. The sun is rising, the air feels still, and this is your moment. Welcome to the peaceful, germ-free home, where we take the stress out of keeping your space fresh, clean, and calm. Today, we're creating a morning routine that's not just about removing germs, it's about setting the tone for your entire day. Whether you're listening while you make breakfast, tidy the kitchen, or just lie back with your eyes closed, this episode will guide you step by step through a soothing, germ-free start to your morning. Imagine this. You step into your kitchen and the counters are clear. The air smells fresh. Your bedroom feels light and open. And everywhere you look, you see calm. Over the next hour, we'll walk through each part of your home together, starting in the bedroom, moving to the bathroom, and finishing in the kitchen, with a few small, powerful touches to your living spaces along the way. Let's start by simply breathing in through your nose and slowly out through your mouth. Again, in and out. This is your time. Mornings are powerful. The way you begin shapes everything that follows. A clean, germ-free home in the morning doesn't just protect your health, it gives you mental space. Think about this. When you see clear countertops, tidy floors, and fresh air first thing in the morning, your brain doesn't waste energy worrying about what needs cleaning. Instead, it focuses on your priorities. The best part? A peaceful morning doesn't require hours of cleaning. It's about small, mindful steps that build into daily habits. So today, as we move from room to room, I'll share practical cleaning tips that fit into your morning without feeling like chores. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Let's begin in the bedroom, the place where your day starts and ends. Step 1. Open your windows just for a few minutes. Even in cooler months, a short burst of fresh air helps clear out stale air and lower bacteria levels. If you can, do this while you make your bed. Step 2. Smooth out your bedding. Pull the sheets tight, fluff your pillows, and straighten your blanket. If you have time, pull the sheets back for a few minutes to let them air before you make the bed. This helps reduce moisture, and moisture is a friend to bacteria. Step 3. Quick surface dusting. Take a soft microfiber cloth and wipe down your nightstand, dresser, or any surface where dust collects. Dust isn't just dust. It often contains allergens and bacteria. Here's your germ-free tip for today. Change your pillowcases twice a week. Our pillows collect more than we realize. Oils from skin, hair, and even bacteria from the air. Fresh pillowcases can make a huge difference for both cleanliness and skin health. And remember, you're not just cleaning your bedroom, you're setting the tone for your day. Now, let's step into the bathroom. This space can collect germs quickly, but a few mindful habits can make it feel like a mini spa instead of a stress zone. Step 1. Wipe the sink and faucet handles. These are two of the most touched and most overlooked spots in the bathroom. A quick swipe with a disinfecting cloth or a vinegar water mix will keep them fresh. Step 2. Store your toothbrush away from open air, or at least away from the direct line of the toilet. Use a cover or place it in a cabinet to reduce bacteria exposure. Step 3. Wipe the toilet handle and flush button. This takes seconds but can reduce the spread of germs dramatically. While you're letting any cleaner sit for a moment, take a breath. Inhale and exhale. If you use natural cleaners, try adding a drop of essential oil, tea tree, or eucalyptus for an uplifting scent. These steps don't just clean. They create a space you'll enjoy stepping into every morning. Now we move into the kitchen, the heart of the home, and one of the most important places to keep germ-free. Step 1. Clear and rinse any dishes from the sink. If you have a dishwasher, load it now or give dishes a quick rinse to prevent bacterial growth. Step 2. Wipe your counters. Use a food-safe disinfectant or a warm, soapy cloth. Pay attention to corners and under appliances. Step 3. Touch points. Wipe your fridge handle, cupboard knobs, and microwave buttons. These are some of the dirtiest surfaces in most kitchens. Step 4. Cutting board check. If you used one for breakfast prep, rinse it in hot water and give it a scrub. Wooden boards, especially, should be dried upright to prevent moisture buildup. The kitchen is more than a place to prepare food. It's where your family and friends gather. Keeping it clean makes it welcoming, safe, and a joy to use. If you have a home office, morning is the perfect time for a quick reset. Start by wiping down your desk surface, especially where your hands rest. Disinfect your keyboard and mouse. These are some of the most bacteria-heavy items in a home. Wipe your phone and any other devices you use daily. Organize loose papers into a single stack and tuck away cables that are not in use. Next up, we'll talk about how to imbibe a germ-free living routine in the living room, the centerpiece spot in the home where you relax and entertain visitors. In the living room, start with soft furnishings. Lightly shake or fluff cushions to release dust, then place them neatly. Wipe remotes and light switches. If you have a coffee table, clear any clutter and give it a quick wipe. Straighten throws or blankets so the room feels instantly more inviting. Step outside for a moment into your patio or balcony. You don't want to ignore your outdoor space when it comes to germ-free living. The air from outdoors is what you get indoors, and you can improve the quality of air inside the home if you take care of your balcony or patio space. Think about the kids, the pet or pets, and even yourself. You want to be able to breathe clean air and relax peacefully when inside the home, and this can be easy for you if you take care of your outdoor space. It will help if you invest in the right tools. A rake, leaf blower, and steam cleaner can go a long way to give you the peace and relaxation you need indoors. Start by wiping down outdoor furniture, especially tabletops where you might set drinks or snacks. Shake out outdoor cushions and align them to look organized and cared for. Sweep away dust, pollen, or leaves from the floor space, so you step out to a home that truly reflects your peace of mind. Next, let's move into the garage, a space that is often overlooked as a part of the home. If you truly want to live germ-free, you want to leave no stone unturned when it comes to doing a thorough cleaning. You likely have a lot of things stored in the garage, but you don't have to throw them out. Just make sure that you can enter the garage and enjoy clean air and a tidy view. In the garage, a quick sweep of the floor near the entrance can reduce dust that gets trapped indoors. Wipe door handles and the garage opener button. Store any frequently used tools or items neatly so you can find them easily. At the end of the day, you want to ensure that nothing is out of place and can relax and spend a few minutes in the garage like any other part of the home. Do you have a staircase that leads you to another story in the home? Don't ignore it or treat it like an unconnected part of the home. You see, most people leave the stairs for months and only sweep or vacuum the carpets that track upstairs or downstairs. Wipe stair railings. They're often touched many times a day, but rarely cleaned. Take extra care and give detailed attention to your stairs by sweeping or vacuuming the steps to prevent dust buildup. Use a disinfectant here, as kids often play around this area. And don't forget to take your time each time you climb up and down this place, as you truly deserve a relaxing home where you enjoy every time spent. Now let's talk about the entrance. Your entrance is the first defense against outside germs. Do you know why? It is because it's the very first place you and visitors interact with when they arrive at your home. Place a doormat outside and inside to catch dirt from shoes. Wipe the inside and outside door handles to stop any bacteria from coming inside with you. Disinfectants will be highly useful here to put your mind at ease against illness and uncleanliness. If possible, create a small shoe storage space so outdoor shoes don't track dirt through the home. Think mud, water, and dirt from the outside. Again, invest in a good doormat so you don't have to worry about any of that. Did you think we were going to leave the driveway? Never. The driveway is also part of the house, even though you don't spend much time here. A hard brush or heavy-duty sweeper would be very much needed here. Sweep your front step or driveway entrance. Shake out the doormat. Keep this area tidy so your home feels welcoming from the moment you arrive. Look around. You've touched almost every corner of your home today. Without rushing, without stress, you've created a space that feels lighter, fresher, and ready for the day ahead. This is the power of a mindful, germ-free morning routine. Now let me ask you, how are the windows, floors, sinks, and other household surfaces doing? Are they looking cared for? If not, take some time or set out time to give them the tender love and care they truly deserve. We know it's not easy to live germ-free. That's why we choose to stick with you every step of the way. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and let us know in the comment section which part of the home is most stressful when it comes to cleaning. Join me next time for a kitchen deep clean that feels more like therapy than a chore. Until then, take care of your space, and it will take care of you.